Hi everyone, my name is Ronald Cook, and when my family and friends think of me, I think they would think of fishing. Now, most of you think of fishing as, recreational, leisure time. You just go laugh and cut up and have a good time and relax. While that may be true, that's not what I'm referring to. I'm talking about commercial fishing, which is where, you go out and fish all day, every day, and that's your main source of income. That's what you do as your job. According to the Occupational Outline Handbook in 2014, there was roughly 31,000 people that claim that as their main source of income. Most people not think of fishing as something very physically demanding, but when you go into commercial fishing, like it's your job, it does get pretty demanding. Being out, whether it be on a boat, a pier, or just standing out in the water all day, you've got the sun beating down on you, the heat, that plays a big factor as well. And if you're on a boat or standing in the water, you've got the currents, you got to balance against the currents, or a rocking boat, either one, and the waves pushing you around. You also have to be on your toes, watching for wildlife around you that could hurt you as well, like sharks, stingrays, things to that effect. Another thing, most people don't think of commercial fishermen. When they think of them, they don't think of a pier. And while that's true for most of the time, I've experienced about 4 or 5 people that they commercial fish off of the Pensacola Pier. Now what happens is every fall, thousands of pounds of mullet will come through, and they'll catch them off the pier with their nets and sell them to the local fish markets, like Joe Patty's, Maria's, and all the other small ones. They'll sell them to them, and that's how they make their money. That's their commercial fishing. That's what they do. And that's why most people don't think of a pier, but that's what they get off of a pier, is mainly mullet. The next thing is it requires some sort of skill and patience, and most people might not see that. But when you get into commercial fishing, you have to be able to read and understand tide charts, because tide charts can affect where fish swim, like the level of the water, if they're in the higher levels of the water or lower levels. Another thing that can affect where they're at in the water and their actual geographic location is weather patterns and weather. Storms tend to get fish riled up as they're coming in, so you want to try to fish as the storm's coming in while they're riled up and hungry before they go down and deep and sort of like dormant during the storm to stay safe. And then a lot of times after the storm, the water will be very muddy because the storm kicks up the water and it kicks up the mud, and it'll bring the mud up to the top, pushing the fish lower. So in order to be successful, you have to know that, and you have to know to fish on the bottom. Going along those same lines, if the weather's been very clear the past couple of days, the water may be also very clear, and it typically will be. So you'll need to use lighter fishing lines so that it's harder for the fish to see it, because they do have surprisingly good eyesight, contrary to popular belief. Last thing that most people don't really think of when they think of fishing is it being dangerous. Now, recreational fishing isn't really all that dangerous by itself, but once you start commercial fishing, like I said earlier, it's your everyday job, that's your main income. If people start, messing with your fishing equipment, or they start messing with your actual catch, then things can get pretty serious sometimes, because as you might assume, fishermen need knives, and normally they have a lot of knives, a lot of big knives, and a lot of sharp knives. And you don't really want to mess with someone's livelihood while they have all those knives around. Now, I know all of you might have never thought any of that about fishing, so I hope that in some way this will help you guys see fishing in a different light, and allow you guys to maybe appreciate it a little more and not see it as such a lazy thing. Thank you guys, and have a good night.